Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the best place to see some Skippy action on a Monday night. Season 15 of Monday Night Lights gets underway tonight, and joining me once again this week, I am your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me this week will be Mr. Tim Gorkrocher. Tim, first night of a new season and plenty of good racing ahead of us.
Yeah, mate. Look, thanks for having us back. It's been a little while since I've been on board, but glad to join you again. And thanks to AJ for allowing Tim Aweemer and myself to have a drive over the past probably a month or so now. I reckon it's been a while, but nice to be at Lime Rock again, a personal favourite of mine. And to be honest, I'm a tad disappointed I'm not racing tonight, but happy to join you here and watch a good M&L race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's back to Lime Rock Park tonight, of course, where it all began for me with Bernie at RRTV all that time ago. But we are back here at love it or loathe it. Lime Rock Park is certainly a crowd favourite with many of the drivers. I can tell you, Tim, I was watching some of the stats from this week, and I should mention we've got the second highest strength of field once again this week to open the season. The strongest one, we're sitting at 35, 33 in terms of the roughly the average, give or take, skill level of the drivers involved tonight. But the strongest strength of field this week was 4,700. And if you can believe it, there were, on that occasion and a few others, up to 7 splits of drivers who turned out. 7 by 20. That's close to 140 drivers turning out for this obviously very popular track, Tim.
Yeah, nice turnout. I saw a couple of those. The most I saw was in fact 6, but 7's impressive. That is a big number, but it just goes to show Skip Barber, even with the new cars released and all the things that happened during week 13, Skip Barber is alive and well.
Yeah, absolutely, sure is. There was some big strength of fields and big numbers in some of the other series, particularly the new Formula 3. But as you say, the Skippy, long, true and faithful, is the Skippy driver who turns up week in, week out to enjoy their racing in this, it's a ton of fun in this car. So that's what keeps them back, keeps them coming back, I should say, ultimately. This is a pretty short track here tonight. We'll do about 25 laps around this very familiar track at Lime Rock Park. Got the 19 drivers tonight, some familiar names there. Everyone from returning series champion Fahim Antonides all the way through to his teammate Enzo Cantor. John Scholz we just saw on camera before. There's a few names in there that we might be unfamiliar with, but one we are certainly familiar with is Luke Whitten, who's on camera at the moment, just trying to get some laps in. Interesting that we both noted that it's some kind of field when Luke Whitten, former M&L champion, it has to be said, was car number 16, just sneaking into this 19 car field, even though his iRating's still around the 3K mark, Tim. So a lot to be said for the quality of this field here tonight.
Yeah, plenty of good people are rocked up and a number of new faces, and of course thanks to them and the international contingent tonight. You know, we talk about this being the Aussie soft, but there's more internationals than there are Australians, but that's terrific. Let's get in amongst it, and pleased to have these guys join us, and the guys on track tonight, the Aussies, get to mingle with the best of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just got Alan Pearce here on camera at the moment. I think most of the guys have actually finished their qualifying because you only get the 2 laps, and because there's such a short lap, less than a minute around this place, you run out of run out of laps before you run out of time. So while these guys are finishing their cool down laps, we might just take a look at our grid for this evening. Round 1, of course, here, as we said, at Lime Rock Park. The great man himself, Enzo Cantor, sneaking his spot on pole on this grid. I know he's very strong around here. And like I said, first race I ever did in commentary was with the man himself, I think, taking out the victory. So great to see Enzo once again coming back and supporting the series. Sasha Gorley, apologies if I've pronounced that incorrectly, Sasha. He's taken out P2, new to M&L. P3 is Eliu Castells. We have seen him before, and he's a very regular skippy driver, very strong competitor as well. Carlos Olvera Pascal in P4 from Iberia. Once again, continuing that international flavour. First of the Australia-New Zealand club members, Ben Furhoff leading the charge. We know he's got some good pace around here. Let's see how he mixes it with some of the international races. Ben Snell from ANZ also joining us again tonight, looking to improve on his single victory in M&L last season. P7, John Scholz, also from ANZ, leading the Team Venom charge tonight. Samuel Collins from ANZ also in P8 tonight with a 57.6. P9 went to Alan Piercy from UK&I with a 57.6. P10, Daniel Campos from Iberia with a 57.6 as well. You can see how tight these times are. Kevin Henderson once again coming back for another tilt at the M&L title in P11. Oscar Chinchilla Marza, who's become quite a regular in the ANZ strength of field in P12. P13, Russell Clark finished third overall in M&L last season, looking to have a better run at it this season. Luke Whitten, we mentioned previously, all the way down to P14, not a familiar spot that we're used to seeing him in. P15 is Mick Gray. Fantastic to see Mick cracking it for a run in the top split. Well done to Mick. Look forward to seeing how he goes. P16, Jeffrey Bachelot from France. Apologies if I've mispronounced that, Jeffrey. Vince Browning, we often see him poke his head out for an M&L at Lime Rock. Great to see him back. Fahim Antonides looks to have failed to set a time, which will make the defence of his championship very difficult, at least for this week. Matt Lee, P19, also failing to set a time and will start from the rear of the grid. Tim.
I'm keen to know what's going on with Fahim. That's unlike him. Didn't set a time. Didn't get out on track, which is strange. So tough place to pass to. I mean, we haven't really spoken about the racing, but it's incredibly difficult to get or to make, to get a reasonable position here. It'd be looking, I think he'd be hopeful of a top 10, but to get past 9 guys, 10 guys, challenging. He's got his work cut out for himself tonight.
Very challenging indeed. Just quickly, if the guys will give us a chance before the lights come on. We're at Lime Rock Park, of course, 25 laps, 7 turns here, 2.36 kilometres a lap. The lights are coming on. Track temp, all importantly, 26 degrees as the guys now get ready to come on. And right on that run down to turn 1, the lights are green and we are away for this, the first lap of the season 15 of Monday Night Lights, as they all make this dash down to the first corner. The guys now led by Enzo Cantor, who's taken every bit of advantage of his pole position. Oh, there's one over on their roof already. Sasha Gourlay. Let's go back and grab a quick look at that, folks. That was quite spectacular there. Let's see what... Oh, he's pinned it, have I? Hang on.
Eliu caught the right rear of Sasha's car and just flipped him. It was all over before it even started. Really tough luck and unfortunate for Sasha. That is a tough luck story, and interestingly for him, didn't make the track tonight.
That's going to be a costly, possibly internet connection issue for him tonight. That's I'm just looking at sort of the projected tally there, and if he doesn't manage to take the grid and get a few spots, he'll be down 140 hard-earned iRating, which will be devastating. After he finished, well, I mentioned that 4,700 strength of field earlier this week. He finished second there, as we see Ben Furhoff running wide at turn 2 and struggling to come back on track. We did that last night in the Australasian Super Skips round that was here, and it cost him dearly. He was sitting in the top 3 there, ending up finishing a bit down the order as the rest of this field now remains on track, and my dubious replay skills showing up, and unfortunately we might see if we can go back and grab that first lap incident later, Tim.
Yeah, look, just talking about Ben Furhoff, it looks like he got caught up with, who would it be? Carlos Olvera Pascual. I think he got caught up with, got a great run and went to go around the outside, but those two caught wheels, and Ben, I don't think he's got damage, but it pushed him off out into the boonies, and he couldn't recover and did the safe thing, took a wide line and joined at the back of the field, but unlucky for him, and it's been I think we'd say it's been a Lime Rock he'd rather forget and bring on week 2 for Ben Furhoff.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting that we still have quite a large pack of cars here at the front end of this race. But Enzo Cantor looking to absolutely check out in the early stages of this race. That incident early on has really just opened the door for Enzo to run away with this, and he's making every post a winner at this stage.
Yeah, he loves his place. To be honest, I don't remember a Lime Rock event where he hasn't more or less wiped the floor. And I've had a couple of good battles, and I knew tonight if I had the chance to race it, to be on for young and old if I didn't pin it in quali like I did last week at Bathurst. But yeah, he's great around here. He's really got the thing figured out, and it's a challenging track because it's so easy to overdrive. You want to go that little bit faster up the hill or through West Bend, and you find yourself in the fence, and it's all over as quickly as it started. But Enzo knows his way around here, and he's good at making the lines work for him, and obviously very good at defending because he often ends up on pole and he often takes the win, and it's a challenging track to get the job done. But Enzo's very good at Lime Rock.
Yeah, absolutely. I've often said he likes to lead and defend, get the overtake done early, and then has confidence in his ability to defend. So that's not something that he looks like he's going to have to do tonight at this stage, as he's now got a 1.6 second lead over Elio Castells, with Snell representing Team Milo, of course, and leading the charge of the rest. He is 3/4 a second now behind Castells in P2. Snell leading that charge in P3 of a bunch of hopefuls here, as we see Pascal now pulling to the inside on the approach to turn one, just feinting that, whether he was defending and discouraging Skoltz from behind him at having a look into the same corner. And newcomer Alan Piercy, he's on the tail end of that pack, looking to break away from the hard charging Samuel Collins in P7, who he himself is on the front of a 3-car pack with Henderson and Marzatim.
Yeah, and Alan Piercy, nice looking paint job on that rig of his. It looks like he's around a 4K driver from the UK and Ireland club. So welcome, Alan. And P6 at the moment, he's looking pretty good, pretty comfortable, having a nice mingle up there with John and Carlos and Ben Snell, having just brought out a little gap that lap. He's about 0.8 ahead, but and Carlos going to come under some pressure from John Skoltz, see if he can get the job done. Which way is he going to go? Carlos holds his line. John Skoltz sends it up the inside. Going to take a good job under brakes. Carlos is up to the task, though. John, I don't think he's gone deep enough. Certainly not done enough to pressure Carlos out of it as he clips the curb. Smart enough to get out of the throttle. He knew it was going to come unstuck as Alan sticks it up the inside of John as John's round was compromised. Alan gets the job done. Very, very nice. Great move up to P5 now for Alan, and John Skoltz thought he was on for P4, finds himself back in P6.
Yeah, the balance of the risk-reward, or the risk versus reward equation, certainly not going in Skoltz's favour that time. Had a crack at P4, ends up in P6, with Samuel Collins now brought right back into the picture with these guys battling, bringing him back into play. Snell now, on the other hand, has in fact found a great turn of pace and looks to have cleared out, taking advantage of that battling behind him, and cleared out in P3. Eyes firmly fixed on Elio Castells in front of Snell now, and looking to take advantage of the clear air that he's got behind him, at least. Nothing in his mirrors now that's threatening him too much, and eyes forward, focused on the challenge at hand, Tim.
Yeah, interestingly, Elio, he's not, I mean, he's got great pace. He's a tiny bit slower than Enzo, but Ben's done a great job to pull in that gap. I'm surprised he's done so well, and he's well and truly within draft range. And I've got to say, Lime Rock is the most challenging track on the calendar. The most challenging track there is to break draft. It is so strong here, and you get sucked in. It is absolutely beautiful. So he's doing a great job as he runs a little bit wide, picks up a bit of dirt, bit of a 1x, but that's all right. Gets a very nice run, and that gap this time around, half a second. Nice job, Ben.
Yeah, down to half a second and well and truly in amongst it. It's you're right about the draft round here, of course. Just as the guys now running through Big Bend on the start of lap 8 for this hard charging pack, running from positions 4 down to about 8 or 9 by the looks. Look, the draft is very strong around here, and it makes the racing what it is at Lime Rock Park. The one of the things to consider here is sometimes it's not always the strongest driver with the best technique that's able to hang on and use the technique between their ears to take it out. So these guys will all be considering where they want to position their cars, both in terms of the corners and where they are on the track, but also where they are in each pack and how many laps remain, because a lot of laps around here on this short track, as we see Henderson poke it up the inside of Scholz there around the final corner. Fantastically bold move there, but it potentially costing him as, who's that coming up the inside? No, Henderson gets it done, but he's got Collins up the inside following his lead, getting the better run out of the final corner because of that compromised entry and making a handful of positions in the one straight, once again confirming that that final corner, a diving turn, is the most important corner on the track, Tim.
Yeah, it is, and if you can't get through and just run right up on that apex, forget it. You're getting past. You haven't done a good enough job getting into that corner. But Kevin, he'd be pretty annoyed. I think he gave up that position there, and he came under attack from Oscar Chinchilla-Maza, who was lucky not to take him out on turn one as well. So the big bend. But those guys having a pretty good race. Disappointing for John Scholz though. Back in P8, he was fighting for P4 before. Things not quite going to plan for him.
Absolutely not. I mean, how the fortunes have changed for Scholz there, as now he's up the outside of Maza there. He's got the great run, Maza pulling out of the draft, but he's left to hang out to dry on the outside of the big bend. You can get it done around there if all parties willing to play their part, but not this time for Scholz, as Maza defends quite well there. Pokes a nose up the inside of Collins now through the only left-hander, an appropriately named left-hand corner there, as they exit the S's now out onto the no-name straight. At the mid stages of lap 10, this battle really heating up, Tim. As we jump back up the front, we see a lonely Enzo Cantor there. He's now 2.2 seconds ahead of this secondary battle now for the final positions on the podium between Castells and Snell, I should say. It's really going to be interesting to see how those two play out tactics. I know that from having had a personal experience with Castell, that he likes to race and race hard. Snell, we know, has got a mistake in him, but on his night is right up there with the best of them, Tim.
Yeah, hopefully he's a fellow South Australian young lad from Adelaide, and a good driver. You're right, he does have a mistake in him though, and unfortunately he's been known to make it when in good positions, and I think Donington might ring a bell as well for having thrown away an event in the relatively recently. But he's looking pretty good at that tonight, and we had a bit of a chat beforehand about setup and the importance of making sure you can get up the hill and through West Bend pretty safely and pretty quickly, and of course onto the front straight, because if you don't get a nice run, if you don't carry all that speed, forget it, you're not getting the job done. But he's looking pretty good out there as he runs wide right up against the barrier. Don't be scared of those rubber tyres, Ben. Nice and close, mate. That's where the speed comes from. And fortunately, though, we didn't bin it like I did last night in the super skips. Ben Snell, we're really close now, 3/10, and I would have thought Enzo would be gapping these guys, but they're all about the same pace, 56.9, 57.1, and looking pretty good at there. But I think Enzo, Alex, would be counting his iRating. He'd be working out in his head, I'm on 4,335. I've got this in the bag already. I could just cruise around. What does it equal if I had 170 iRating tonight, or 150 or 120? He is out in front and in absolute control right now.
Yeah, not having to do any of that hard defending that we know he's so accustomed to doing, really clearing out and making this race his own. And Enzo, if you've got this up on another monitor, mate, 77's the magic number of iRating you'll walk away with. 208 points for the championship, of course. This Monday night event really is a platform for some of the guys to have a crack at the official season in iRacing, but also we have a bit of fun here with the Monday Night Lights Championship. Of course, we call it Season 15. We have done 15 of these seasons where the guys run for points here on a Monday night. And, you know, thanking everyone once again for the fantastic support we get for the series. It's you guys that keep us coming out each week and enjoying a bit of fun here on a Monday night, Tim.
Yeah, it is great. And, you know, we're often pushing around the 4K mark, strength of field wise, which is terrific. And last season as well, I think we covered on week 12 at Bathurst that we had the highest average soft So if we had a winner consistently enough, they would have won the championship with their eyes shut. But no, it's a great little series, the M&L series, and we appreciate everyone who rocks up every week, and they keep yourself, myself, Alex, John, the doctor, and Tim Awima gainfully employed. So thank you very much.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. We had the strongest average strength of field of the entire season anywhere. So that goes to speak volumes about the racing that we get here on a Monday night. And guys coming out for their crack at the title, if you had a consistent winner, you'd be laughing, as you say. The challenge is they're not easy to win. So we had Fahim Antonitis, who, as you mentioned earlier, failed to take the grid tonight. Quite a costly internet problem by the looks. He took out the M&L series and but was unable to grab the title overall. But our leader tonight, Enzo Cantor, has actually won 2 or 3 official seasons on the back of taking out the M&L championship. So it certainly can be done, and it's what we look forward to providing, that platform for the guys to have a good crack overall. As we jump back and we see John Skoltz now running wide into the penultimate corner there at West Bend. Not sure if he's got damage or he just had a rough run through the uphill. Let's go and grab a quick look and see what we can find for Skoltz.
Hey, it's all over for John Skoltz. He just buried it in the fence. Race is done. Pack your bags, son. It's all over. He has disconnected.
Oh, a tragic retirement. Looks like I've just gone a fair way back, and he was already off the back there. Wondering if he no. Just coming up. My replays are really giving me trouble here tonight, folks. I think I might have to give up on that as an idea. Button's not doing me any favours. Let's hop back on board with our 2nd and 3rd place getters at the moment. Tragic to see Skoltz retire so early on in the night or in the season even. Not a great start for him. Ben Snell now on the front of Castells has made that move while we're trying to find a replay. On the approach to turn 1 now, Castells just ducked in behind and settling for that position there. Pascal now ahead of Piercy has managed to get away from that chasing pack in Kevin Henderson and Marza, who are once again just slightly behind there locked in their own battle as it continues with a green liveried Ben Furhoff now making his way back after being all the way down in about P16 or 17 after lap 1. Tim, he's putting on a decent fight back.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of place, and you're right, Ben is doing well, but everyone's able to sort of clock the same best lap time, but it's those who can do it the most consistently that are making their way through the field. Ben, of course, had that off track, and I dare say he probably found himself in last position. So to make his way up to 9th, although 4 places down on where he started, to be in 9th is actually a reasonable place to be. So I think he's still got a handful of laps, 10 to go to, 9 to go to see where he ends up. But he's looking okay out there at the moment. So good on Ben, and hopefully another handful of places available shortly.
He's got 3 right in front of him, and he's just hanging on to draft there, if not advancing his position. So certainly a bit on offer for him still in this race. As we jump back up near the front, we've got a couple little battles developing here, or raging. Snell on now behind Castells. Castells getting the move done, probably into the Big Ben last lap. Let's hop on board with Snell now as we watch him range through West Bend using all of the track there, and now cutting through the final corner there at diving turn. You can see with that elevation change why it would be called diving turn. Now he's lifting. He's sitting there. He's got the balance of 8 laps now as they cross the line, and did not look to make his move at the end of the front straight there. Perhaps thinking that either he didn't have the run that lap, Tim, or he was waiting for an opportunity later in the race.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, if you had a reasonable run, that you wouldn't look to make that move, because he's going to find himself 57 second laps. He's quickly going to run out of time and obviously laps to get those moves done. Interestingly, before Elu passed Ben earlier, it was he got a much better run through the left-hander and got a great run up the no-name straight and chucked that up the inside of the uphill section. So a good job by Elu, and a strange error from Ben to allow him to get the job done.
Yeah, it looks like he's capitalising on that at the moment. Once again, Snell charging up the front straight now. Tongue hanging out of Castells in front of him with that fun livery that he has on his helmet there. Snell once again not making advantage or taking advantage of the run into turn one. Just jumping back one spot there, we've got Piercy and Pascal locked in a battle still for the minor places there at P4 and 5, and right behind them, look at this 2x2 train we have. We've got Henderson, Marza, Furhov, and who's on the front of there? No, it wasn't Pascal, I beg your pardon, it was Collins in the 11 car. They've all managed to get line astern by the time they hit the uphill, and unfortunately they did. That's one of a very challenging corner as they now approach West Bend, now tucked in very tightly. You don't get much closer than this, Tim.
Nah, it's great racing out there. Battle for second and third with Ben and Elu. Alan and Carlos having their own ding-dong battle too as they make contact. Alan, I reckon he's picked up some damage, bit of wheel damage in there. Let's see what happens through turn one. It might just be okay, but they certainly made contact as Alan went to cover the line. I don't think he knew that Carlos was so close, and those two definitely came together. So fortunate there, but there's some great battles on track at the moment, Alex, and none more so than the third battle track, 4 cars deep. Oscar, Kevin, Ben, and Sam Collins in, where's he, P9.
That's right. It's a tough battle there if you want to get a position, isn't it? You got Marza on the front of that, and he's leading a hard-charging Henderson, grinning ear to ear, no doubt, with Furhov still trying to make that recovery. Look at Henderson right on the tail now as we hop on board. These guys fanned out 3 wide by the looks of it in the background the last time out. Henderson not getting the run perhaps he wanted on entry, but looks to be getting it on exit as we jump ahead now. See if I can't grab the view into turn one. Where'd it go? I've lost it. Oh well, we'll jump back to a more standard view here. And these guys really putting on a great show and showing what Monday Night Lights is all about, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought Ben was going to get hung out to dry on the outside again as Kevin, excuse me, didn't really hit the apex, probably half a car width wide. And I think Ben was fortunate to not wind up out in the boonies again and back in last place. But a great battle. This is what Skippy's all about. In a place like Lime Rock, you can get hammer and tong for 10, 15 laps and battle out the whole way as these guys are doing so very well, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. They're doing an awesome job. And jumping back up the front, we've got a lonely Enzo Cantor still miles out in front, 5.7 seconds. Jumping back now, we've got Castells just sitting in front of Snell, still looking to like he doesn't want to take that position. And then the third back there of third battle between Piercy and Pascal rages on through turn one once again. But this 4-car battle pack is where it is all happening at the moment. Once again, Marza leading through the first Big Bend section, coming now into the left-hander or the sole left-hand turn on this track. Henderson now tucked right in behind, and these guys either not wanting to move forward just yet for whatever reason in terms of strategy, or unable to move forward to sit on front of this pack, with Marza perhaps just having the edge at this stage, Tim.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what reason there would be to not want to move forward, because it is so challenging here. If, like we talked about with Ben earlier, you can't afford to sit back, and I worry that although he's only a couple of tenths down, that he's not going to have that opportunity to get the job done on Elu. So we'll see what transpires, but only 3 laps to go, lap 23 or 25, as they go through turn one, the Big Bend. And I worry for Ben. I think Elu's got a bit too much pace at the moment.
The other thing is, strategically, it's quite easy in some respects to defend into turn one. You just take the driver's right-hand side of the track, defending the inside. It's easier said than done, of course, when you've got the likes of Snell tucked right in behind you. And as we see them come up over and now into the West Bend on lap 23 or 25, 2 as they cross the line, this time remaining. What can Snell do? As we're right on board now, down through diving turn, the final bend, as he's got the run this time. What's Castells going to do? No, he leaves the door open. Leaves the door open.
Well, that is surprising.
Yeah, as
That
they
is really surprising. Elu could have covered him so easily. Is there on lap 24, 2 to go? It just would have been so simple, but instead he lets Ben through, no cover at all. Just kept the regular line, the racing line, and Ben Snell through to P2. And I reckon he's going to hang on to this, Alex.
Yeah, the only thing I can think is that he's thinking he's going to jump or leapfrog him into turn one the next time round. But if I was Snell, I'd be hugging the driver's right-hand side of that straight and hanging on for all I've got because, yeah, I was very surprised he let him through too. It's easy enough to defend 2 laps as one, but this time we've got Castells right on the back of Snell as they go through the big dive. Look at the shadows now, the track covered in darkness. As this new look at him straight over to the right hand side as we suspected, and forcing Castells to take the far side round the Big Ben as they go through now. Snell defending once again. That strategy coming back to bite Castells. He did not get the leapfrog that he was expecting, and now Snell looking very good to sit on the podium this second step at least as we see this next pack come through. Marza still able to defend that front spot on this pack, racing for P6. Again, it shows you that this guy's been on the front the whole time and been able to defend it. Marza doing a fantastic job there. It's on side by side through the uphill though. Castells on the outside of Snell, both getting it done side by side now into the West Bend on this final lap. 2x2 still. Can they do it for the remainder of this lap, Tim? Coming through the final corner now. Side by side once again. What's Cantor doing? We've got the wiggle. We've caught it on camera. Oh, we've lost Snell. We've lost Snell through the final corner. And he's all that work undone, Tim. Oh, we'll have to go back and see if we can't grab a replay there as the remaining of the cars come across there with, it looks like Marza hanging on in front of Henderson in that big pack with Furhoff managing to grab onto P7 there, Tim.
That is a sad end of the race for Ben Snell. P13. Second was in the bag. Third would have been unlucky. And to get sideways on that last corner was a tough luck, tough end for the race for Ben. But that's the way it goes. Lime Rock bit him. And well done to Elu. We thought we had written him off, hadn't we? He was done. No hope for P2. And he battled long and hard through the final few corners. And he got the job done. Well done. And of course, Enzo flogged them tonight. 9-second win, lapped in the high 56s all race long, and gave them an absolute toweling.
Absolutely. And Snell, it was losing the rear end of the car through that final corner. The side-by-side action was outstanding and just unable to hang on through that final corner after all that hard work. And he finishes out of the points once again, Tim. I'm almost heartbroken for the kid. He's worked so hard and strategically done a fantastic job for it all to come undone in the end. What a tragedy. Well, folks, as we return back to the end of the race, let's take a look at our final results. Top to tail for round 1, season 15 of the Monday Night Lights here at Lime Rock Park. Enzo Cantor, flag to flag victory. Had some luck go his way in terms of the pack breaking up, but took full advantage and saw it through to the end. Fantastic work to Enzo Cantor. Elio Castells, he's hung on for P2 in what was a fantastic battle towards the line there, some nearly 9 seconds behind in P2, as I said. P3, Pascal holding on ahead of the debutant, the rookie, Alan Pearce. He's putting on a fantastic showing here at Monday Night Lights. Congratulations to those two. Oscar Chinchilla Marza from Iberia rounding out your top 5 and on the front of a really hard racing pack. Congratulations to him on what turned out to be a successful strategy. P6 went to Kevin Henderson, who I'm sure in the midst of that pack was having a great time. Fantastic way for him to start his 15th season with us. Ben Furhoff, great recovery drive in P7 after going out into the wilderness very early on. P8 went to Samuel Collins from ANZ. Strong performance from Samuel. Best result he's had in a while here on a Monday night. Daniel Campos from Iberia, another successful entry into MNL, finishing in 9th. Mick Gray, fantastic drive from Mick, up 5 positions here tonight. really outstripping his ranking here tonight. Car number 18, seated 18th, finishing in the top 10. Oh, he'll be very happy with that, no doubt. Luke Whitten up 3 positions from what was a surprisingly low qualification position for him in P11. P12 and final Monday Night Lights points scorer tonight was Matt Lee from ANZ. P13, the tragedy that was the end of Ben Snell's race left him all the way down in P13 after vying for that second step on the podium. Vince Browning in P14 tonight. I know Vince has got some pace around here. Just goes to show the quality of the field that turned up tonight. P15 went to Jeffrey Bachelot from France. Apologies again if I've mispronounced that. Russell Clark, who's questioning his entry fee into the M&L ever more with each passing week, down in P16th. John Scholz having another tragic end here tonight, down 10 positions and retired along with Russell. Sasha Gourlay, who had that big incident on the first lap, was retired as well. And Fahim Antonitis somehow did not manage to take the grid, unfortunately, once again tonight. And he has ended up, well, nowhere. And with a big loss in iRating, Tim. Tragic end for Fahim.
Yeah, disappointing. I expected him to battle Enzo for all 25 laps, but one of those things, it happens, and it is the internet. So what can you do? He'll be back, bigger and better, stronger, faster, and elbows out, of course, in the coming weeks. But tonight was all about Enzo. What a great result for him.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic result. And speaking of Enzo, why don't we get him up to tell us how things went for his cockpit, although I imagine it would have been quite sedate. Enzo Cantor, Alex McKellar here from the Top Split TV commentary booth. Congratulations, mate. What a return to start Monday Night Lights for season 15, if you can believe it, mate. Congratulations. Flag to flag victory. Well done.
Thank you, guys. I was not sure at all to win today because I had some issue with my brake pedal. Load cell is not precise, so every time I brake is a lottery, and I think it's time to change it. I think I will wait to make a little money to buy a V3 because this is becoming very old now. But the problem is that Saturday I did the MX5 race in the World Cup with my friends, and so I lost confidence at all with the Skip Barber. Yesterday I did an awful race in 2K World Cup, and so today I was not sure at all to get the victory. And it was not so easy at all because yes, there was an incident. In my mirrors in the first corners, so I was able to get them out of my draft soon. But believe me, I was forced to push very hard every lap because the car were following me as almost my same pace. So I had to force every lap, risking to go outside the road in order to get the victory. But for now, the important thing that is in 2019 S1, I did 4 races, 4 victories, 4 poles, and I have 70% laps led. So my statistics are perfect.
Fantastic start to the season, mate. Well, congratulations on the win tonight, and hopefully many more for you in the future, mate. It's great to have you back on the track and in the booth, and well done on a flag to flag start to the season by the sounds of it, mate. But
but this story is a very great story, but I think it will be very short. So
not easy to do, mate, from start to finish. So before we let you go tonight, mate, would you like to give a shout out to anyone?
Yes, surely. As always, thank you for giving me this chance. I have to say thanks to my team, Transmaster Mivan Racing, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, my teammate Fahim Antoniades that is not here today. I don't know why. And obviously, I have to say thanks to all the passionate people like you and all the others racer on the service, because this world is real because you are here. Without you, this is not possible.
Oh, awesome, mate. Really appreciate the support as always and the kind words. Fantastic to have you back, mate, and what a start. So, congratulations to you on behalf of Team Ivano. And yeah, Fahim didn't take the grid, but hopefully next week we'll see both of you back battling toe to toe once again, mate. So, until next week, have a good one.
Yeah, thank you, and see you next week.
There you go, Tim, our victor tonight, who put on a pretty good show in the end, albeit a solo one.
He did give him a bath, didn't he? And again, unlucky for Sasha, is no doubt. They qualified with almost identical times, and obviously things would have played out very differently if he was 200s quicker and got pole. But that's the way it goes sometimes, you know. And full credit to Enzo, and he flogged him at the end, so well done. And I got to say, kind of expected it. He is very, very good here.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I just noticed on his livery he's got a couple of little trophies there. I thought it was 2 or 3, but it looks like he's had 2 official championships, if that's anything to go by. That's my guess at least. But now, as is the tradition of Monday nights, we're going to bring up the next one in the finishing order. And because we've got so few from the top split, it's someone a bit further down the order than we would normally expect. That is Mr. Ben Snell. Ben, mate, if I had any hair, I'd be pulling it out. What happened? That final lap, the rear car stepped out through the final corner after going too wide for nearly the whole lap, mate. Run us through it.
Oh, look, I know I didn't have the pace for Elio, so I definitely wanted to sit behind him for most of the race because I knew if I was in front of him, we probably would have fell back to the pack behind us. But I knew defending on the last lap was definitely the best idea. So when he didn't defend with 2 to go, I took the inside. And I knew defending into turn 1 is definitely the key, and I wanted to stay in front of him. And he got a really good run through the back straight, and we ended up side by side through the last couple of corners. And again, it's that not having practice doing compromise lines, and you go a little bit too quick through the inside there, and the rear stepped out, and then I died and couldn't find a gear, and everyone drove past me.
Yeah, mate, and I saw the finish of the race for you was reverse style, but it's a really good message that you give there about practicing offline. I mean, people do so many laps here, week in, week out in a variety of cars, and no doubt plenty here this week in the skips. But how many of them have taken it 2x2 through essentially the back half of the track and come out the other side favourably, if at all, having done it? So very good message that you give, and I'll tell you that a lot of people will find success in practicing offline, not only from the perspective of being able to finish a race strongly and competitively, but also in terms of getting themselves out of danger, because often taking the inside or defensive line can keep you out of trouble from behind and getting rear-ended, as so often can happen in all categories, if not the skips on their own. So good piece of advice there, Ben, mate. Really disappointed for you because you're on for such a good result. Hopefully the tide will turn next week and we can see you a lot further up the order. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, mate, before we let you go tonight?
Of course, always you guys for taking on the broadcasting. It's good to see Tim in the combox. I know you probably would have liked to race here. I know you like Lime Rock. It's your favourite track, isn't it, Tim?
I do love it. Yeah, secretly I've got there's a bromance between Lime Rock and myself, but I think it's on the calendar for the next couple of seasons. So I'll have my time again.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
All right, mate. Thanks.
I look forward to racing with you, Tim.
That's it. Thanks.
Yeah, I look forward to viewing your Milo colours from my rearview mirrors.
Awesome. All right, Ben.
I'll leave it at that then, eh?
Yeah. No worries, mate.
Thanks, mate. We'll talk to you hopefully next week after a sensational victory. All right, see you, mate. Well, there you go.
Poor Ben.
Poor Ben, I know.
Poor Ben.
I know. I was quietly confident that he was on for a good one, and he left it till the death to dash my hopes once again. Anyway, that's unfortunate for Ben, but certainly he'll be back bigger and better next week. Got a couple left from the lower splits by the looks. We'll bring up what has become somewhat of a regular and doing pretty well overall in previous seasons has been Mr. Sean Carron. First time in the booth, mate. Welcome aboard. I'm going to guess that you were probably relegated to the second split tonight, mate. How was the running there for you?
Thanks. It was pretty good. Though half the reason I'm here is because I would like to apologize to Kuya for absolutely killing him on the final turn of the first lap.
Yeah, mate, that'll happen here. We saw a bit of action at the final corner at the death knell, or the death knell, shall I say, tonight. And unfortunately for him, it ended in a similar fashion. But how did you end up results-wise after that early incident?
Finished P1.
Wow, fantastic. Well,
Good victory.
Yeah, well, a lot of points there, mate, and a great kickstart to your tilt at this season's MNL Championship. Hopefully, though, the I rating will get a bit of a boost there, and we can see you back in the top split. But hopefully, the bigger points there will be on offer, and you can make a good run at. But listen, thanks for joining us here tonight. Good of you to come and apologise to one of your fellow racers, and congratulations on the result. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just you guys for running this. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So, thanks.
Fantastic. All right, thanks, Sean. We look forward to talking to you again in the future after a successful result in the top split.
Hopefully.
Awesome. All right, there we go. Just one more, Tim. We've got Mr. Corey Steinhauser joining us here from... Now tell me, Corey, riddle me this. Was it second split, third split? Where did you end up tonight?
Third of 3 splits tonight. I have a sub-story much like Ben's, but mine happened on the first lap, and it was because a car stopped in the middle of the final corner. So I didn't do it to myself, but a lot of drama and action in the third split tonight. A couple of disqualifications and many crashes.
Tell you what, it certainly sounds like an action-packed race, mate. Did you manage to claw your way back up the order at all?
Yeah, I managed to claw my way back up to 7th. I had a pretty good battle with the 6th place Ty Tran for a few laps, and then I made a mistake going into turn 1, got a little bit overly ambitious on the brakes, and just locked up. But the guy who came in second, Phil Munnelly, was running in first for a good long time, and with about 3 laps to go, he made a mistake into turn 1 as well, and allowed Michael McMahon to come through and take the win.
Fantastic. Well, a lot of action down there by the sounds of it, mate. Well, hopefully 7 positions you might have netted some I rating there, and you can help move up the order. As I know you're a regular dirt oval driver, but we seem to be gradually converting you to the road side of things, and we're all the better for it. But also know you're a streamer, and let us know where people can find you online.
You can find me on Twitch at Corey Has No Life 13. I killed the other 12 Corey Has No Lies because they just weren't living up to the reputation. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all the Friday Night Race Club boys who have been helping to encourage me to do some more road racing. I have expanded myself from dirt oval, as you alluded to a bit of road and a bit of paved oval as well. So this season's looking pretty big for me, with a lot on the cards, official race-wise and unofficial race-wise. So I'm hoping for some good things.
Awesome. Always glad to hear a new blood in the road scene, enjoying what we all love so much. So thanks for joining us here again tonight, Corey, and we look forward to hearing about how you get on in the future.
No worries, mate. I'll probably see you next week.
Awesome. There you go, Tim. Just a little bit of insight for the folks at home. We do run the Monday Night Lights event here on a Monday night, Australian Eastern Time, 9:15 p.m. in the official race. We do spread points for our little unofficial championship over the top 3 splits, which is why we also invite people to join us after the race for a bit of a conversation from the different splits, not just those in this top split race. idea is to bring the community together to get a bit of fun on a Monday night, add a bit extra to that official race, and really get people on track and involved. And in my opinion, it's a great outcome when we see more and more people joining in with us, Tim.
Yeah, it is. It's and great to have those kids up for for a chat as well. So I'm sure it's only a matter of time before the thirds are in the second split, and there's a handful of the second split races making their way up to the first. So well done to them, and thanks for getting involved, and of course coming up for a chat. And for those, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who wonder, where's this broadcasted? How does it all come together? Do you want to tell them a bit about the Top Split Discord?
Yeah, of course. We are on Discord as well. I will, if you go to the iRacing forums, there is the season thread for the Monday Night Lights. You can find all the details there about how to find us, as well as all the previous seasons of the Monday Night Lights. All the broadcasts and everything are on the topsplit.com. But the Discord link, which is where you can pony up for an interview or rock up for an interview after your race and add to the flavour of the broadcast, is also a link there in the forum thread for Monday Night Lights Season 15. But folks, that's about all we've got time for this week. I just want to make a special note that we have Christmas and New Year's coming up, and unfortunately the Monday nights fall on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So we will be taking a short 2-week hiatus from broadcasts. We have round 1. Tonight, of course, we will not be broadcasting rounds 2 and 3, nor will they count towards the Monday Night Lights Championship. Normally, we count all 12 rounds and have 4 drop rounds. This season will just be the 10 rounds, starting again back at round 3, along with just the 3 drop rounds for this season. So, certainly looking to build on things once again after Christmas and New Year's, and we look forward to seeing you all then. In the meantime, if you'd like to check out a bit of first-hand racing, you can check me out for my racing at the Top Split TV Twitch channel at the address on your screen right now. There it goes. But for now, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and on behalf of my partner in crime tonight, Mr. Tim Gorcrotcher, I thank you for your support of the series and say ciao for now.